This meeting is being recorded.
Yeah, this is your boy RBK Royal. I'm here with you tonight, talking about progress that is not perfect, that is necessary, and it must be important for you, to you, by you only. Understand that there will be times where you are not met with solution focused oriented individuals or outcomes when you are on a journey in a path of enlightenment, self development, growth, and forward progression. So, I want to start off tonight by saying I am at this point in the game, I think I am 66 days clean. I don't take that lightly because my longest streak has only been 65 days. So today makes 66 days. I am an individual that perseveres beyond all things, and I'm not, I guess you could say, exempt from any life dealings or situations that other people often find themselves in. I am just like you. I had to learn how to take off all of the bad, all of the negative, all of the old things that were no longer serving me so that I can really get back to my purpose. And today I am doing that. I, again, am 66 days clean. And every day I am doing something for my recovery to put my recovery first. I'm not looking for friendships. I'm not looking for relationships because I realized that those were the social defects that affected my person and my character, of which diminished my power and my self confidence of what I knew I could do, who I knew I was, and how I was already on the ground putting down the work daily and getting it for myself. There will be individuals throughout your life where, again, um, they don't want to see you grow. And that's just the simplest way to put it. They don't want to see you grow. They will laugh at you. They will mock you. They will do anything that they possibly can do to get you off of your game, to discourage you from prospering. And that's just the society that we live in today, guys. And I know it sucks. But here's the thing: if you don't make it about them, you will continue to grow beyond measure. You will continue to go up, 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 and everything for you will happen. But you can't take your mind off of what your goal is. Because if you do, and you begin to fall into that group think, and you begin to fall into that sedentary mindset and lifestyle, it's going to stop your progress. It's going to stop you right dead in your track. Okay. Um, at this point in my journey, I had started this journey back in November of 2023 after I had lost my apartment, my home. I had a house, guys. After I lost my house, I was working as a therapist, a high school counselor during the 2022-2023 academic school year. Everything was going well for me. Essentially, during this time, I was very scared to take that job just because I had previously been returned back to um, uh, the corners of this earth to fall back in a place that I don't consider home anymore, Ohio. but I was brought back here for reasons that I did not know, and obviously that would have been to lay my last two aunts to rest. Needless to say, um, I was brought back here after a job loss that I had in California, termination without cause. Okay, anybody that has ever lost a job or been laid off, you probably know that that is a very, very hard thing to deal with. It's just as hard as a divorce. It's just as hard as losing a parent, a sibling, something that is close to you and significant, that impacts your livelihood is going to hurt. So it was essentially like pulling the wool over my eyes, pulling the carpet out from underneath me. I had no stability. I fell to my face. And it was not the drug. I'm telling you, I was actively using during this time, and active use picked up substantially after that job loss. Okay, so I was dibbling and dabbling, right, prior to that. But after the job loss, which was no cause at all, there was no cause stated, which we live in an at-will state. California is an at-will state, Ohio is an at-will state, so there was no reason as to what she gave me for why she was letting me go. But I was just smart enough to know that she was letting me go because I was not going to align myself with the false practices of Medicaid fraud or falsification of documents to earn money. I just was not going to do it. If I have to steal, then I'm not going to foot that bill. I'm not going to write a check that I cannot cash. I am not going to dig a grave that I do not want to be buried in. So I did not align myself with that. So that's really what came to uh, be as the reason that she was allowing me to go. But I need you to know that if you are not intentional about what you take and how you are setting yourself up for success, um, you're going to become victim to a lot of um, practices and ways of life that you might not even align with, that might be not within your moral fabric, that might be outside of your value system, that may just be completely obsolete from what your existence and whole person could even fathom. Like you'd be like, what is this? Because it is completely abnormal. It's new. Like it's something that you wouldn't do. And I just didn't do that. I couldn't get with that. I couldn't get aside of it. So what happened is before I knew it, my body was telling me and giving me signs that it was stressed. It was burnt out. It wasn't liking what the work environment was giving. It was really, really tense. It didn't like being under those work um, pressures, the workload. It was very spastic. It was disorganized, and my internal um, dialogue as well as alert system was going and the entire time I'm just like not listening at all. It's going and I'm just ignoring it. And so what eventually came to happen is that I fell just um just it was a hard fall. Like it was a fall beyond a fall that I thought I was like to die. I thought y'all I thought I was on the way out. So my body was responding in a way that I was having a loose stool, diarrhea, and I was throwing up at the same time. And that is how sick that job made me. So I spent the week in the hospital prior to my return back here to Ohio. And it was like, wow, like didn't have any family or friends there. I had two girlfriends, but my one girlfriend, she didn't have a car. If she had a car, she definitely made it known she would be there to support me. And we kind of like supported each other during our little sick times. And, that was my girl. We would go to karaoke and stuff. And I really miss Yvette. That was my girl, Yvette. But I was really sick, guys, and my body told me to stop. My body told me to get out of it, to stop it, to do something, or it was going to take over. And this is the second time that my body spoke to me in an existential way, telling me that if I did not change the current, that it was going to take over. The first time that my body took over was when I was behind the wheel and I was on my way home. Of course, this was a drunken night, but I was just down the street from my apartment, and this is when I stayed in Hunter's Chase in Miamisburg, Ohio. And I was just down the street at my girl Coco's at Ebony's house, and we drank and had a great night. And Coco, she did ask me, Ebony asked me, they said, "You sure you don't want to sleep on the couch, Reese? You can sleep on the couch." I'm like, "No, no, I'm good, I'm good." Well, guys, I was not good, but I thought I was just good to just get down the street like I always usually would, take the back way, and I'll be right there home. And I was literally probably, I would say, less than 5 seconds from my parking lot to actually drive in and park my car. Now, that night, I probably wouldn't have parked it in my garage. I would have parked it in the guest spot, but I was definitely at home. I was less than 5 seconds from the driveway. So, this is right before I would have turned onto my street to get to my apartment complex. My body was like, I told you I was tired and you didn't listen to me. So, here you go. And what happened was something beyond my control. My body shut down. It took over. I had just a split second to throw my car in park. And needless to say, I had a good sleep, but by morning, when I opened my eyes and the sun had rose and the officer who was called in because someone thought that I was dead in my car. Um, it just wasn't a good day for me in terms of how I came to get my first and only DUI ever in life. Okay, it only took me one time. I didn't do it again. I've not had ever a drunken run in like that since. It was one and done for me. But my body simply had shut down. It said, "I'm tired. I don't know why you thought you had 5 seconds to get to the apartment." Like I was shutting down. Like it was like literally that computer is about to restart and you have less than 5 or 10 seconds, right, to close out your programs, or it's closing it out for you, right? When it says it needs to restart and update, it needs to restart and update. It don't care what you got to do. It don't care what you're doing, how you're doing it. It's just gonna restart itself. And so that's what my body did. And that was the first time that I came to know how powerful the central nervous system is when it sends a command and a signal to the rest of our body to let it know what it was about to do. Okay, so I was not in the driver's seat and I was not in control that day. My body completely took over, and I was, thank God I didn't hydroplane kill anybody or kill myself. That I was able to throw it in park, but yeah, I got a nice DUI. They did give me a slap on the wrist, and I was able to get it reduced to reckless op, but I mean, it's off my record now, but guys, this was back in 2020. So, you know, it was a sign, needless to say, that all I needed was one of those moments for me to open my eyes to know how powerful it was. Okay. And it was a power that was greater than me. Okay. And the second time, obviously, that my body, has spoken to me and let me know that it needs to change a current and get away from something um, was definitely that time in the hospital. But I didn't listen to my body. And so it did again what it did the first time, and it completely took over. And that's why I spent the week in the hospital prior to my relocation back to Ohio. It is important to understand work culture, workplace behaviors, individuals' personalities, and character defects. Because if you do not, it can make its way into your life and it can completely wreak havoc. As I've grown in my journey of recovery and sobriety, and I say that with confidence today. Before, I could not say that a year ago with confidence. I was completely ashamed of myself. Um, because I'm just like, how could I have fallen to such a place? Baby, how could you not have? You have went through copious amounts of trauma, complete clusterfuck, compounded levels of trauma, traumatic experiences that no normal person in their natural born life would have made it through. Just off GP. They wouldn't have made it through. They would have either killed themselves, they would have been probably state mandated to a psych ward at this point. Literally, these life experiences that I've gone through, they have not been no joke. And it has not been a walk in the park. It ain't been no cakewalk. It has not been for the weak of heart. It has not been for the faint of heart. So when I say and tell you that God puts only his strongest soldiers on the battlefield, I need you to understand that that is that. Okay. And little David here fights big Goliath every day. Okay. Little fights big every day. Satan, he stays on my trail and he is constantly trying to get me off my game. So I'll give you the experience that I experienced earlier this week. And then I'm going to end with that, and I will see you all again on Sunday. We'll do it at 8 instead of 7. We're going to move it to 8 on Sundays, 8 to 9 instead of 7 to 8, just because I have something else that I need to do on Sundays. I need to be in the rooms and at meetings. Meetings have helped me very, very much throughout this process, specific meetings. And I'm going to get to that just as I finish up with this experience. So earlier this week, y'all know that y'all don't know, I live in sober living, and I have been living in the sober living environment since 2023, approximately November 23. The first program that I went to was a place called Fresh Start in Dayton, and it was a group home format. And this is where I had to sleep. We were sleeping. My room that I slept in was 3 to a room. This is very different for me as I am an only child. I'm used to having my own things. I'm used to having my own space. This was a big adjustment for me. Okay, now mind you, I had lost my home to eviction that I had bought for me and my partner. Needless to say, my partner was not where he needed to be cognitively, intellectually, or developmentally to be able to take on a blessing like that and to be responsible enough to hold it down. So it left me at odds and without the means to do, and I just wasn't going to do it alone. The purpose of getting the home was not just for me to live in it alone, so I just let it fall. And I went deeper into my addiction. So after losing the home, I went into the living quarters of group home living, communal living. Now, obviously, I went to college, so I've had roommates and lived with roommates and things like that. So I wasn't completely oblivious or it wasn't completely abnormal, but to my standard liking, it was just a big adjustment. So this was the adjustment that I could have definitely said I had an adjustment disorder back during that time. And then probably still do a little bit, but it's more in remission today. Earlier this week, I was cleaning the first floor of our home here at the house. This is a 2-story home. It's very big, very nice in Sydney, Ohio. And I'm with a place called Izzy House, and I love it. They're really good. The company that they're contracted with to do all the clinical and everything, they're very organized. They're very on it. They don't miss a beat. Honey, you don't get your appointments in. They're going to get the billing in. You're going to be taken care of as much as you need and want to be taken care of. So I definitely give my hats off and the praises to Izzy's House for where I am today. I've tried other programs. I graduated from Emerge Treatment Recovery Trade Initiatives in Xenia, Ohio, back in November of 2024. I was successful in that. I did 30 days for men's residential, developed great contacts and relationships with the men there that I would hope had hope that some of those would have stayed, but hey, people are in our lives for a season and for a reason. And it is not our decision, and it's not our determination, nor do we have it in our power to have them or make them stay. Many relationships now for me have come to be very short lived. It's not to my own doing, and because I don't even want to foster many of those. They're here, they come to teach me something, to show me something, and I get the lesson and I'm gone. And that's just how simple it is for me today. I mean, if you come in my life today and you say that we're friends, I'm going to look at you like you're crazy because I don't have friends. I have one. That's my brother. His name's Anthony. He stays in Atlanta, Georgia. And that's my ride or die. I don't have friends. I have associates until you have proved yourself um, worthy of my friendship. I don't just befriend strangers. You're an associate. You're God's child. I love you for that reason. I love my brothers and sisters in Christ. I love you for that reason. But outside of that, you are not my friend. Okay. Um, Nevertheless, I was on the first floor of the house and I was cleaning the main level bathroom. Now, granted, I don't live downstairs, I live upstairs. So, my responsibility and my only bathroom that I'm really responsible for cleaning is the one on the second level. But here it is. I clean the entire house and I deep clean it a lot and often because I can get sick and will get sick quickly from dust mites. I will get sick from asbestos. I will get sick from mold because all of that, if Doris was not here, would be here and the house would be filthy. And I'm not saying that um, lightly, I'm saying that because it's real. If we don't have individuals in certain places who are cleanly, we'll fall for anything and we'll become the nasty individuals living at the basic animalistic level that we lived when we were in active addiction. Hey, it is what it is. I get it. I've learned that I had to get over feeling the need to control the house cleaning regimen because it was starting to make me mad. Like I was just like, how could I live with these grown ass men and they do not fucking clean? Like what is happening? Well, I had to also understand that I live with individuals who have intellectual and developmental disabilities. They barely came from a place where they had structure or organization. They may have not even had the foundation laid. So this may be the first place that they're getting it, and they do require coaching and prompting. And more so in a nonverbal way than a verbal way. You just do it indirectly and continue to do it consistently and then catch on. I eventually came to learn that, and that is what's happening now. So, guess what? I'm no longer taking the trash out by myself. I'm no longer cleaning by myself. I did the behavior consistently enough that people are starting to catch on. They're starting to pick up the weight. Hey, what do you know? The world came full circle. Great. So, no need to seek power there or control there because my higher power has it all. And he's going to work that thing out. I'm just working on myself, my character defects, my personality, and what my actions to my decisions that I make every day are. So, as I was cleaning the first level bathroom, one of the individuals proceeds to come up to the door to let me know that he had to pee. Okay, now this is a big home. There are three bathrooms in this home altogether. There were two other bathrooms at that time that were vacant that he could occupy and go use the restroom to pee. As I was cleaning up the bathroom, I was literally almost going to be done and finished. Well, he made it known that he could not go upstairs because he had already had a negative run in with another peer who used to live in his living quarters and they were separated because that individual almost had to lay his hands on him for his disrespectful behavior. Okay, so here we are now. Fast forward to Doris. Doris is now cleaning the bathroom and he's approached by an individual who has entitlement, a sense of egocentrism about himself, and it is his role and nobody else's. Well, I can't go upstairs to the bathroom. House manager said I can't go upstairs to the bathroom, so you need to get out. Get the fuck out now. Pause, breathe, stretch, shake, and let it go. All right, definitely have to do one of those. Because who the hell are you talking to? But my response was simply this. I took a pause and I looked directly at him in his eyes and I said, "You do not speak to me in that manner." He said, "Well, I need to pee right now. You need to get out now." I said, "You can go in the restroom upstairs. I am finishing up and you're not going to talk to me like that." And I said, "You do not have to talk to me like that. And I will continue to clean." Well, he then came in the restroom and he positioned himself next to me on my left hand side. Now, at this point, my PTSD has set in. I am at the point of fight or flight because when you get in my proximity of zone, like it's so bad that I have to tell the individuals who cause it, the police, to back the hell away from me because they're too close. They are the individuals that cause my PTSD, and that is why when you are within, like there's arm, you put your arm out, right? And if you come past my hand, you are too close, right? So he positioned himself body to body against me on my left hand side and butted me out the restroom, guys. Butted me out the restroom. And then before I left and could turn around, he then turned to me, exposed his genitalia, and said, "If you do not leave now, I will piss on you." Okay. So I had just a split second, and um, I had very little time to figure out what it was that I was going to do. Was I going to knock him the hell out, put him down, bust his lip again so that he would have to go back and get it re-sewn up because he had just fell off his goddamn electrical bike the night before and had to go to the hospital and get sewed up? Like, are you not learning anything from what the universe is teaching you about your behavior and how you're treating folks? Like, you should probably take it and dial it back and play the tape to it, buddy, because some things is not clicking for you. Needless to say, I did the mature thing and the adult thing, and I walked away. Granted, when I walked away, I was just in eye shot of our house lead, who I instantly yielded to and was like, "Please call the house manager now. This is a situation." He then proceeded to try to talk to the individual. The individual was resistant, would not comply, and yelled at him. So there you have it. He's just on a rampage. So we finally get a hold of the house manager, but by that time that the house manager comes to the home and then comes to my room to speak with me, I had already did what I needed to do. I sent the grievance to my house manager as well as the executive um, leader leadership team to review the incidents. And my request was that the individual be removed from the home that day. I was not comfortable. I did not sleep well that night. I was completely out of sorts. And more than anything, I sat with the feelings of defeat, disgust, and the feelings of being violated is essentially how I felt. And even though there was no physical, um, sexual activity or anything that came from that, like I really did feel violated. And I really struggled with that for the next few days. But today I'm doing a lot better. I'm glad to say that I was able to really, really yield to my higher power and to give it to my higher power. My higher power gave me back the peace and serenity to accept the things that I could not change and the courage to change the things that I could, to understand that, hey, um, this is what we deal with. This is no different than actually being in behavioral health care, working in the hospital, working with the clients and the patients that are suicidal, psychotic, and delusional. Okay. No different than that. So I simply had to just place myself back there to understand that, hey, this is just that part of time in society that we're dealing with the bullshit. Okay. I don't know how to allow the bullshit to affect me, and I can rise above. Now I'm going to end with this. Um, Again, being in communal living, being in sobriety, recovery, treatment is a big change. It's a big pivot, and it's a big life shift. It's going to challenge you in a lot of areas and places of which you would have never even once thought that you could even be tried. Okay, I have been tried, that I have been true to literally work in this program and allowing it to, give back to me what I could not give myself. But I'm so glad that I am not falling victim to the ills of immaturity, the deceitful, malice intention of others' characters' defects that they would have intentionally. So I was at a meeting tonight and I was sharing my story and experience from this week, earlier in this week, in the rooms. And I got to a point where I explained that the individual had ended up actually messaging me, sending me a text message after he had got put out and had to leave. And this was just the other day around about 8:15 p.m. and he called me a piece of shit and he said that I was nothing but a porch monkey. So I shared that in the rooms and two of the guys in the back were sitting at the table as they usually do laughing. They thought it was funny. They're white, that's gender males. One's five, probably no taller than 5'8", 300 pounds, and the other one has no teeth, and he is probably 6'2" and doesn't even know what a royal crown is. So there you have that. Did I stop? Did I say anything to him? No. I just simply took note of how it made me feel, how it typically always makes me feel when I go to that meeting, because those are the same individuals that sit in the rooms and disrespect the entire time. So one of the things I had brought up in tonight's meeting, I said, I come from Dayton area. Now, this is Sydney, Ohio, a very rural area where it's a small town. But just because it's a small town, it does not mean that traditions do not travel and they shouldn't be respected. Okay. I believe in traditions and I believe in practices and principles that are helping individuals to save their fucking lives. So I think that those needs to be upheld and respected everywhere that we go, no matter where the fuck we are. We can be in Antarctica, we can be in Australia, we can be in North America, South America, Europe, or Asia. It doesn't fucking matter. The principles need to be respected and the traditions need to be upheld. And when somebody is speaking in a room, you do not have side conversations. It is one meeting, and you do not sit there and fucking laugh at people when they're sharing instances and experiences about their lives that could send them back out to potentially go put another one in them. Okay? So tonight was a different experience for me, and I had to be mature about it. So what I did was that I called it to question. And I said, I come from Dayton, and typically when we're in meetings, we have topics. There's topics that are brought to the floor so that it can help the flow of communication and conversations can be consistent and there's not long periods of silence. Well, I tell you, honey, I brought that up to the group conscious, honey, and they shot that thing down. They're like, I'm sorry that this is not how this meeting is ran. Individuals, they might be thinking about what they gonna say, and they need time to think about that. I get time, but 10 minutes of time, the span is too fucking long for silence. I'm a therapist. I used to be a goddamn therapist. I'm not about to sit there and wait 10 minutes for my client to think of something to say. I'm gonna have some intention behind what the fuck I'm doing and why the fuck I'm there. If I'm to help them grow in any fucking way. So it just didn't make sense to me. But I didn't argue it. I just simply said thank you, noted it, and my intention was to come home and speak with one of my elders who I know that is older and has more years of recovery and sobriety behind them, to talk about it so that they could give me some experience, help and wisdom around it. But I was not able to get a hold of them, so I simply did what I knew to do, which was uh, to get on here and share it with you all. So I'm glad that you all have taken the time with me today and allowed me to share my experience helping wisdom with you. And I hope that you all have a wonderful weekend. Do something for yourselves. It doesn't have to be necessarily around your recovery. Just do something that makes you happy and find a reason to do something to make someone else happy. I'll see you all Sunday at 8. Thank you.